Hey, good morning. Good morning. How's everybody?
Good morning.
Hello.
Professor, your mic is crashing.
Do I know you from another class? Your name is familiar.
Mm,
Um, how are you?
I
I
think
have
I,
a actually I have an. I, I think
I
you're the
think
only
I've
one else
only
here
had
to
one last
with
semester.
the.
I
Uh,
didn't know.
I'm sorry. I have some audio. I have some issue. I can't hear you clearly. Maybe I'll have to first log out and log back in.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, yeah, let me just log out for a while and log back, and that will fix the problem. Okay.
No,
Uh,
I sound good.
all righty. So let me. Hey, good morning, everyone. I hope my microphone is better now.
Yeah, it's better now.
No. I mean, you can hear me well, but from my end, from my end, I'm not. There's a lot of static noise, So I think my problem is at my end. It's not
Yeah.
fixed, although uh, but it's okay. Uh, it might get better as we go along, or if the problem persists, I will have to restart my computer. But not a big not a big deal. So I hope you guys all have received my uh, emails in the last couple of days, right? If you haven't, everything is in the announcements folder. So let me share my screen. So here's the and currently I have only 5 people participating in the collaboration. But, um, let me quickly check first. Let me share my screen. Um, anyway, how's everybody else? I heard I heard back from Asieta, but I haven't. How are you? Anna, are you there?
Yes, I said
How
hi.
about you, Andrea? Yeah, hi, Anna. Yeah. That's right. You don't have to keep it. You don't have to keep yourself if you're not speaking. It's best that you keep it muted. Um, Anna, I believe you're also in Finance 300, isn't it right?
Yeah, I'm in your class. Yeah.
Recognize your name. How about you, Andres? Andres, are you there? Andres?
Morning, Professor.
Good morning. Finally. How about you, Tyra? How are you, Tyra?
I'm here.
Good. Yeah. I remember. Did you send me an email? I believe you sent an email. No, I recognize your name. How are you, Yan Chu?
I'm here.
How are Good morning. So let me share my screen. Okay, and let's check. Let's see. This is weird. All right. So I logged out. So everything is, I closed out my browser and opened it again. So I'm automatically logged out. But somehow that Blackboard was still. All right. So you see the discussion. All right. It's in the discussion board. So it is there, and I have like 11 people so far. It's not 11. I have two. You don't need to, Mariana, if you're there. You don't need to, uh, you know, it, right? Um, so I have 10 people so far. So I think I can just, unless there's a message there. Okay, it's the same thing. So I will delete one. So 10 people so far. Nine, because two of them are my friends, and but I have how many? 5 people. So 4 are still missing. Okay, 4 people are still missing. So let me quickly take you to the brief tour, because um, in one of my emails, I already gave you a link to uh, a tour video, right? It's a tour of the structure or the configuration of the Blackboard course. Excuse me. So first of all, in the announcement, let me enter student mode. Oh, why is it there? That should. This is crazy. Uh, so ignore these two things. So so this is the I sent you these emails, this by email. First of all, there was a welcome message, right? Welcome message. Second, there was class protocol, and then what is that? Third, there was tour video, right? Link to the tour video, and then holiday schedule in the fall. Um, so basically, September, I believe September 4th. Let me quickly check the calendar. So September 4th, which is next Saturday, we don't have class, because it happens to be a Labor Day weekend, and anyway, that's part of the. Other than that, we don't have any off days, right? Um, yeah. So that is the only next Saturday is the only off. Now, also you got this email because BMCC server, I don't know why, but it's been ever since the pandemic started, and ever since we moved on to ever since I've been using Blackboard, all the emails um, uh, that are related to Blackboard, they automatically go to. It's not only Blackboard, a lot of other emails, on to junk mail. So sometimes I do my due diligence. I do my due diligence to rummage through all my junk mail folder to spare your if to discover your emails, to salvage it from automatic but I'm not always successful because sometimes some emails go undiscovered and then they get automatically deleted, periodically. So that's why I've been saying not to send email to my BMCC email. You send it to this. Okay. So, and I think that's it. The other things were some, rubbish from just had, accidentally copied from previous masters. I'm gonna go back there. I'm gonna delete them. – 2019. Criteria is not a summary step. Okay. Just all right. So they won't be visible anymore. Okay. So and the second email you got was about the class protocol, right? The first thing you must do, and everybody followed it, I think everybody followed the instruction very well. So complying with my instructions, that's very important because that's the first step to a successful semester. Because if you comply with all my instructions correctly, then you will do well. Now, so first thing you have to report attendance. Attendance is 10% of your grade. Therefore, actually, attendance alone is 5%. Attendance alone is 5%. And actually, it is attendance and participation that will make 10% of your semester grade. But actually, the participation points can be infinite, right? Theoretically, infinitely great. Meaning, so only the attendance reported within the first 30 minutes will be recognized as present, and each presence is worth 0.33 points. Okay, and we are this is a class that meets once a week, so one semester is 15 weeks. Okay, so that means attendance alone 5 divided by 15, and you can tell it's going to be 1/3, 0.33 points. And any thread created after the first 30 minutes will be recognized as late. Later will be 1/3 of the present. Okay, so that's going to be 0.11. So I give 30 minutes window. I give 30-minute window because some people have internet issue, connectivity issues, so they might have hard time connecting, or even if they are connected, they might lose connection intermittently. They might not, so they may not be able to promptly report attendance. So I give like 30-minute window, and so maximum of 5 comes from attendance, and then the other 5 points will come from class participation. So in addition to attendance points, you will earn in addition to attendance, you will earn participation points for answering adult questions during the class. So throughout this collaborating session, I will be asking you questions. Okay, and if you give me a great answer, you will earn 1 point. A good answer, 0.5. An average answer, you will earn 0.25. Okay, and so if you give me 5 good answers, that's going to be 5 points. And if you have perfect attendance, the total will be 10 points. But look, again, you don't have to give me only 5 great answers. If you give me 10 great answers, that's 10 points. 20 great answers semester, 20 points. So together with the attendance, it's going to be 25 points. And these are not scaled down, right? You understand? Your exam scores will be scaled down because by my policy, and where's my, let me just open my, here. Okay. Syllabus. So I believe you have already, checked out the course information page, and you must have downloaded the syllabus. There's, clear, grading criteria. There will be 4 exams: quiz 1, midterm, quiz 2, final. And quiz 1 and midterm are 20% each. Quiz 2 and final, 5% respectively. And attendance will be 10% plus. That means attendance and participation will be, it can be more than 10% of your semester grade. So that means, the exam scores will be scaled down by these percentages. If you got 100 in quiz 1, suppose you got 100, 100, 100, 100 in all of these 4 exams, but it will be they will be weighted by this, percentages, which will be weights for those exams. Then if they are, weighted by this, then the sum of all of them will be only 90 points, right? And if you have, but these, attendance will be, raw points, not, it won't be, it is already built in to be 10% already. So out of, 10-point, attendance and participation, it won't be scaled down anymore. If it is scaled down, 10 points will be just 1. So no, raw 10 points. But again, it doesn't have to be only 10 points. If you gave me 20 great answers, it's going to be 25 points. So this way, you can, if you messed up, if you mess up in one of these exams, it will be more than made up. It will be more than made up by your participation points, right? So participation is very important. Although, look, and also in the first email, I basically mentioned, I clearly stated that this class is like a 2-lane traffic, 2-lane highway, okay? And basically all highways have at least 2 lanes in one direction. Fast lane and slow lane, right? Some major highways may have, 4 lanes, even 8 lanes, action. That would be a huge, uh, but fast lane is for fast-moving traffic, right? Slow lane is for slow movers. So if you're a fast mover, actually, it's gonna be very annoying if someone is blocking, right? And you find that kind of driver, that kind of motorist very often. You're on the highway and you're in the fast lane. There's someone moving very slowly, slow moving vehicle in the fast lane blocking you. And this is definitely a common sense. I mean, if you're slow moving traffic, you must move aside to the slow lane, and you must use slow lane, right? That's just a courtesy. That's and if you are just blocking thoroughfare in the fast lane, and if you don't realize that, that person is kind of very not very smart, or not very keen, right? Not thinking that they are causing inconvenience to other people. But bogging down this, traffic is a big problem in the U.S. Only in the U.S. Because in other countries, and I've been around all over. I've been to a lot of countries, and in else in the highway. In Europe, especially, highways are not that wide. Only 2 lanes. In many countries like Austria, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Slovenia, Croatia, Germany. Germany has a better highway system. Sometimes they have like 4 lane highways, but in these countries, they have basically 2 lane highways, 2 lane. And I've been to Italy, I've been to France. A lot of this, in most of these countries, highways are mainly 2 lanes. Sometimes they have 4 lanes, but in most areas they have 2 lane highways. And then they drive very fast in these countries. Not only in Germany. It's a very well-known fact in Germany on Autobahn. They drive, very fast. But it's pretty much because Europe, especially Western Europe, is all, the same traffic regulation applies everywhere. So the minimum speed there is actually minimum speed on the highway is about 80 miles, 130 kilometers, right? 80 miles, about 130 kilometers is about 80 miles. So if you're driving in the fast lane, and I've been telling you, in Czech Republic, Austria, Slovenia, Hungary, these countries, large highways are only 2 lanes, a large stretch of highways. Only 2 lanes, only fast lane and slow. So if you are in a fast lane, you would often see the vehicle behind you shooting high beam at you, blinking, high beam. And then, instantaneously, there's no one that is disgruntled about it. They just nicely move aside, right? If you are not driving fast enough, and if there's someone moving fast behind you, someone approaching very fast, they approach very fast, almost like they are tailgating. And then if you find someone tailgating, and if you're not moving aside, you are the one unethical, right? They have no problem with that. If you're not moving fast, you give the way. You don't have to, stubbornly occupy that fast lane, right? And causing inconvenience. You don't have to cause inconvenience to the person who has the right of that way, right of that fast lane. And you think, you are already driving at about 135 kilometers or about 80 miles. You think you're okay. No. If anyone is driving faster than you, they don't have any upper limit. If anyone is driving faster than you in a fast lane, then you should move aside to the and you would gladly and willingly do that, because when you are moving that fast, you wouldn't want someone driving slowly, or someone driving slower than you, blocking you in that fast lane. Slow lanes for traffic, fast lanes for fast moving traffic. That's the rule, and that's the common sense. So it's a common courtesy to give way if you're not fast moving vehicle. But only in the U.S. Some people, there are people moving very slowly in the lane, and then if someone is behind you, they just think they are tailgating you, and and they just get so stubborn, and they feel offended. They feel they think that these people are rude. They are shooting high beam, and then they don't, they get so upset and they don't give way. They just stubbornly ignore and stubbornly occupy the fast lane. This is crazy. This is stupid, really. Don't you think? This lane is for fast-moving traffic, and if you are blocking the fast lane, just going slowly and blocking the fast lane, you are the one rude, not the person behind you. You're the one unethical, because you're causing inconvenience to the public, and you don't think so. You don't think you're causing inconvenience, right? That's only something that happens in the U.S. And they think that this is my right. This is my God-given right not to wear masks. This is the same, ideology that is behind the resistance. As the mask mandate in Florida or in Texas. The governors, in those states, DeSantis and who was the Texas governor. These are really, unethical people, if you think about it. Why? Yeah, it's your freedom not to, wear a mask. And they say nobody can enforce that on me, But my God, look, if you live by yourself, it's your God-given right. You can do whatever you want. But if you are living in a society that is not separated by miles and miles, like in Texas or not, right? Or in Oklahoma or in North Dakota or Wyoming. I mean, I used to live in Colorado. That was, back in the 1990s, early 1990s, 91 through 94. I lived in Colorado, still Denver. I lived in Denver. But if you drive like 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 1 hour out of the city, yeah, you will really see a wide, vast stretch of land, and communities just are sparsely scattered. It's not only Colorado, I mean, even in New York, upstate. I go to upstate. Really, they are, small. There are small, townships, and few and far between, a vast stretch of, just nature. I mean, if you're living by yourself and there are no neighbors within, 5-mile radius, yeah, no matter what you do, it doesn't matter. But if you're living, close by each other, you don't ask. it's not just you. I mean, if you are infected, you can, you know, uh, you can spread the virus to other people. And of course, other people will have to wear a mask to protect themselves. But if anybody with immune system, mask may not be enough, and they may get infected, right? And they don't think about that. In other words, they only care about themselves, but they don't care about other people. And that's the disease. That's the American disease, in a way. Not all of the American, but like states like Florida and the mindset of the people there, right? Texas and Florida, and they also call it red state disease. Red state, only in red states, Republican states. But that kind of is still, very prevalent. They don't think it's in East Asia countries like South Korea, Japan. And Japan is very disappointing these days. They feel guilty if they are inconveniencing others. They feel guilty, right? And that's the common sense everywhere. Actually, in the U.S., sensible people feel guilty if they, that's why they say, excuse me, I'm sorry. If you are inconveniencing others, I mean, it's only human nature. Then feel guilty about inconveniencing the other people. But these people in the fast lane in the highway, not feeling guilty about inconveniencing others, that's something only found in the U.S. They just ignore and they just keep driving slowly in the highway lane. Now, so the idea is, in-person, face-to-face in-person class, sometimes everyone is different, and the level of understanding also, and the level of, there's a wide variance, right? And it's a given fact, you can't try to deny that, turn blind eye and say, everyone is all equal. No, of course, opportunities must be equal. Opportunities are equal. Abilities are not equal. Everyone's abilities are different. That's given fact. We can't, you can't just pretend that it is not. So some people need to take it slow, right? And some people some people can move fast. So two-lane traffic concept is exactly what is applied here. If you need to take it slowly, you come to collaborate and ask questions. Okay, that doesn't mean just because you're a fast-moving traffic, you don't have to participate in the collaborate session. I mean, in this class, all the lectures are delivered through. See, today at 9:30 p.m. this folder in the course materials, this folder opened. Okay, and if you click on it, all these course materials are now visible. But this is not all. This is just for today. Okay, these are just for today. And you don't see the rest of them because it's not visible to you yet. These are your assigned readings. Okay, it's not the only. It's just reading is watching, right? You need to watch these videos and use these. This is a PDF file. This is an Excel file. Use these two, right? They must be used together with these videos. Okay, this is not a video. This is just a link. So actually, you have 5 videos assigned for today. But of course, you couldn't have watched it already because today's the first day. But you will have plenty of time to watch these, because these videos will be available for 1 week, because we meet every Saturday. These videos will be available for 1 week, and then next Saturday we don't meet, right? So it will be, the next one will be September 11th. Okay. Let me just check. Everyone can hear me, right? Are you there?
We can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah, very much. Somehow I have a connection issue because you can see my status.
Yeah.
Usually, I see, you guys have, generally, yeah, good connection status, but I can see my connection status is very today. So I just want to make sure, I'm not speaking in the air. I'm not preaching in the air, right? Because if I'm disconnected, and I wouldn't know, right? So the idea, all right. So the idea is, collaborate session is not the main lecture, right? This collaborate session is like an afterglow, okay? The main lecture is the pre-recorded videos, which are like, pre-assigned reading assignment. So you watch these videos, and you have plenty of time. I mean, you're given 1 week. At least if you watch these videos once a day, you will be, you can replay them at least, 5 times over the next week, right? 5, 6 times over the next week. Now that is and it will take, for some people, it will take 5, even more than 6 times. Why? Because, um, um, there is a big difference between, reading and comprehending. That's why there's an expression, reading comprehension. And some people think that if they read, then they understand. No. You all know that, reading is not comprehending. Just because you read it, it doesn't mean you really fully digest it, comprehend and digest, right? You don't fully comprehend and digest it, because some readings are hard. It requires your thinking. It requires analytical thinking, right? So you have to really analyze it. So it's the same thing. You watch these videos, and you have to watch it analytically, and you have to. And there are mathematical process, and Excel process that are being demonstrated in the video, and you should also try it out. You should replicate it, right? You should emulate it and replicate it, and you should do that until you get it right. And then you cannot just do it just by watching it, because a video goes on and you cannot emulate it while the video is just going on. You have to pause the video, right? You have to pause the video and back the process, right? And you might have to pause the video several times before you complete that process. And that is only natural. That's only natural. Okay, so that's why it takes a lot of replay of these videos, and that is called studying, right? If you're studying something, you don't just read it once. You will read it and read it and analyze it, and you dive until you fully it, right? That's studying, right? So so the idea is, you can if you're a fast learner, fast traffic, you can do it effortlessly, right? But for most people, it will take a lot of efforts, right? So in the collaborate session, please, next week, not next week, next Saturday we'll meet, but 9/11. That's 9/11. September 11th, right? September 11th, which is our next class. You must have watched all of these videos and to collaborate and uh, answer my questions. Or if you have questions, you got to answer. You got to ask those questions there. Okay. But it's 2 weeks already. We're gonna have 2 week gap. That's a long time, and these videos are there for 1 week. So if you want to watch it after 1 week, what are you gonna do? Well, I have all my videos already on YouTube. Okay, if you go to YouTube, my channel, it's my Google ID, Jeff Hunk. But it's don't look it up by just my name um, because there are other people with the same name, right? So you may land on the wrong channel. So you gotta use a playlist. So this course, this course has everything on this course is there. Okay. So please write down this playlist. Okay, and it's quite self-explanatory. You're in CUNY, you're in BMCC, you're in fnb230, right? So if you search the playlist this way, you will find it. Okay, so this is like this can give you already what's gonna come in the future. And I have all my courses. There are like 4 or 5 courses that I teach, and they are all there. And every day, because each class session is being recorded, the entire sometimes 3-hour class. This is not this class. The class that meets once a week is 2 hours 45 minutes. Actually, it's not exactly 3 hours. The whole 3-hour video, the recording for 2 hours 45, or the recording of the live session will be updated every week. It's going to be posted in the course materials folder, because today's live session will be posted here later. And you can also, for example, Thursday, Finance 300, we had Finance 300, and Thursday, the recording of the live session, right, is already posted there, right? So people who missed the class can watch it. But it's best not to miss the class, because it's obviously it's not to your benefit. If you miss the class, you lose your attendance point. Now, it may not look like much, but it's going to make a big, huge difference, right, later on. Um, so let me show you an example of what you might see something like, okay, the course information. Okay. Of course, if you go to the course information, right? What happened here? Oh, what happened? Something is not right. Huh. Okay, something's missing. I think the overall greeting is missing. It's gonna be there later. I'm gonna fix it. You can find, first of all, syllabus, right? You will need to download it. It's a PDF file. And I already have downloaded it, so let's see. Oh, it's already open. So the textbook, about the textbook, right? It's not that urgent, but because we have custom edition, right? We have custom edition. This you can buy custom edition, or you can go to Amazon.com and you can get this. This is this is because we don't use for this course we don't use the publisher's online platform. So fifth edition and above, it doesn't really matter because the publisher is already into like 10th edition, or this is not the most latest. It's not the latest edition, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. And the custom edition, I don't know if the bookstore has the custom edition, but if they do, have custom edition, this is this is ISBN number. I don't know if they still have the ISBN number because that was originally printed in 2017. So ISBN number may have changed, but this is really custom edition, meaning they don't print it out for general audience. They don't, it's not for circulating the regular market. It's printed only on demand, right? So they don't have, I don't think they need to print it over and over. They don't market it. They don't market it in the general market, right? Why? First of all, you might think, wouldn't they want to sell it too? No, no. Why? If this is being circulated in the market, then it will compete with their regular edition. And if this competes in the market with the general, their regular edition, then their regular edition is much more expensive, and then their regular edition will be cannibalized by their cheaper book. So they don't really circulate it. They don't market it in the general market for general audience. Okay, so they just print it upon demand. And so I believe bookstore already pre-ordered in summer, during the summer, so they must have it. The only thing is that if it doesn't really matter, you don't have to really. You can buy even Amazon. you can buy the old editions from Amazon, but it has to be fifth edition and above.
Professor,
Okay. Yeah.
will we be
Yeah.
will we be using the access code or not?
No, we won't be
Okay.
using any access code. I just said this class isn't going to use any online publishers online platform. Okay. So
Okay.
actually, I think the book can be cheaper, even cheaper than that, because it's only going to be the cost of just printing, which will it could be cheaper than uh, this. Um, it can be cheaper than this because there's no access code. We're not using the publisher's online platform. Uh, all right, and then where was I? My office hours, right? These are hours only in Zoom, right? Some people just click on these links and of course I don't think anybody would click on this today because there's no Saturday link here, but some people click on this and then they just wonder where's the class, where's everybody, and look, and the thing is if your class, I'm using these hours are my open hours. I mean obviously I cannot give office hour when I have class, right? um, I need a common venue because uh, I 6 classes and not the same course. These 6 classes are not the same course. They are all different courses. And 4 of them are the same. 2 are all different, right? Out of 6. So there has to be a value for uh, people from different classes to meet me, right? To come together. Because if I cannot give office hour in Collaborate for this class because Collaborate session for this class is for only for the students from this class, and other students from other class cannot come to this Collaborate session. They cannot. It's not. I mean, even uh, there is no access. So obviously, I need a common venue. So for office hours, I use Zoom. But the class is on Collaborate. Okay. So that's pretty much it. And once the main lecture is not the Collaborate session. The main lecture is uh, through the videos and the course materials. Okay. And as I said, Collaborate session is only like an afterglow where you reflect and review and reflect on the pre-assigned readings. Okay. So as I said, we have 2 weeks. That's plenty of time. You will have a lot of time to watch these videos over and over. And because in other words, after September 4th, these links won't be visible anymore. Then what? You go to YouTube and you can watch the videos again. And you can even go further. You can go even beyond uh, financial statements intro 5. You can go to 6 and 7 and financial statements 1, 2. But I don't think not too many people are going to do that. I can't even expect. I don't. I can't even expect that you will watch these, even 5 times. realistically, I don't think it. But keep in mind, the more input, right, you put into this, the more output will there be. You understand? Huh? The more input, the more output, right? The more efforts and time you put into this, the better output, the better outcome you will get. It's always an honest function. You cannot input the minimum and can get the maximum output, right? You will put in maximum output and you will put maximum input there and you will get maximum output. Okay, um, and there's no at least decent output. I mean, depending on your ability, depending on your intellectual ability, you put in maximum input, but you may not get maximum output, maximum for your ability, or which would be a decent outcome at least. Okay. Now, so that is already I think enough of the introduction. Let's take like a 10-minute break. It's 10:32 right now. It's 10:32, and let's take a 10-minute break and reconvene exactly at 10:42. 42. We all need to take a little break, a restroom break, or at least drink some water. I need something to soothe my throat. Let's take a 10-minute break and reconvene. Okay? All
Okay, thank
righty.
you, Professor.
10:42. All righty. I'll see you soon.
All right.
Professor. Professor.
He took a break. He took a 10-minute break.
Oh, okay. How many people? It's only us few in this class. How many people is in this class?
Excuse me?
Is it a lot of us in this class?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
there's
know.
a lot of people missing. I don't
Oh,
think they know that it's on Collaborate.
oh yeah, it's on Collaborate, right? So, what did he talk about so far?
He just went over like the course basics, and the syllabus, and that's it. Just
And
like he went
the
over
week
just
one
wasn't the course
Did
folders.
anybody start like a WhatsApp group?
No.
we can start it. Doesn't
Yeah,
hurt.
we should definitely start that.
But like, who's gonna add everybody though? Cause I don't know how to do that.
I'll add everybody. Everybody message me your numbers.
Okay.
Hold on, let me see. Yeah, everybody message me their numbers, and I'll just add it to the WhatsApp group for the class and stuff, so we all can like stay in contact with each other, so we can
Yeah.
pass this class. I got 3 of y'all so far.
All right, we're back. It's 10:42, and so we're gonna have another 10-minute break. That 11, sometime around 11:40 or 11:30, because the class is official. The class is officially until 12:15, but since today is the first day, I will dismiss it at around 11:59 or 12. Yeah, Anna Karen, I saw your microphone coming up. So you have something to say, Anna?
No.
Okay, all right, all righty. So okay,
Professor, I have a
someone
question.
just left. Yeah. Go on. Yeah.
So, are we gonna be mainly using Excel, or we gonna use Excel and Microsoft Word?
Oh, well, I still have audio issues, so I couldn't hear you very clearly. But if you're asking about Excel, yeah, we are using Excel very heavily.
Okay.
Okay, we're using Excel very heavily. Okay, all right. Um, I don't know why. When I start sharing the video, right? When my screen, sharing my screen, you see, uh, suddenly my connectivity goes down, right? My connectivity status goes down like this, it gets very, I don't know why. And then, there's a lot of static noise. I mean, you may, as long as you clearly, that's fine. But, when you say something, there's a lot of static and I have a hard time. But, let's give it a best shot, sometimes, this happens. So, so if you download those two files, actually, okay, one is an Excel file. You're going to be downloading. You might wonder, where are they? Where are those files? I already showed you, right? You go to this, topics folder, right? Today we are only one folder is visible to you. This one and this one. Yeah, this one must be this PDF file, and the other one is the Excel file. Okay, so without I will, the first, all this verbiage, it's not really necessary, right? You can just read through these verbiages, that's this, something, you can read up, right? It's not really a big deal. Now, let's take a look at this. The typical structure of income statement, right? A typical bare knuckle structure, right? And, the major line items, and you all have taken Finance 100, because it's a prerequisite to this class. And if you have taken Finance 100 with me, of course, we went through all this. But then, you never you're never doing it too much, as far as the financial statements and fundamental analysis are concerned. You can never do it too much, right? It's always, revisiting it until you get it quickly. There's no, there is no, there's no way you can revisit it too much, right? And even now, I mean, you may have taken Finance 100, and you may also have taken Business 210, and Business 210 is also this, but it was also limited. And in Finance 100, it was also limited because there were other topics. There were other topics in that you had to cover within 14 weeks, right? Also, in Finance 230, almost half the semester will be talking about financial statements and fundamental analysis, right? And in Finance 100 and in Business 210, due to cash flow analysis, we're going to do cash flow analysis, and we never got a chance to do tax in Finance 100 and Business 210, but here we're going to do tax as well. So that's why this is, corporate finance as well as, financial management. I mean, we have the second half of the semester will be about corporate finance topics, but the first half of the semester will be about the fundamental, which is, financial statements and fundamental analysis, which is, typical financial management topic. Okay. So the bare knuckles, bare bones, bare knuckle structure, right? Financial income statement structure is, first of all, there will have to be revenue, sales revenue, and it is not mentioned here. It's not mentioned here, but investment income, right? The income in this example, they don't consider any, investment income, but investment income will have to be here if there's any investment income, right? And then comes the CGS, cost of goods sold, also called cost of revenue, right? And then, operating expenses, because CGS and OPEX, operating expenses, are two sources of expenses or cost, right? Two sources of income is sales revenue and investment income, right? And the gross margin or gross profit is not often, not very important. It's relatively secondary. Why? Because it's not. Think about it. Just because you subtract CGS from revenue, it's not directly profit yet. So that's why they call it gross profit. But then this can be misleading, right? I've been explaining this over and over in FNB 100 or in Business 210, because although they use gross profit method in inventory estimation, I mean, that's one way, but then it would be meaningful, right? Gross profit will be meaningful if the operating expenses are small, right? Or the overhead is small. Now, so let's compare this with the with my Excel example. So if you go to Excel, right? If you open this file, you may not, the landing page may not be this one. You may be somewhere here, but you got to go find it. It's the first look for tab, the first bottom tab, that says example. And here, we'll go to the income statement. You see, first of all, two sources of your income. So it's basically income minus expenses. Think about it. Let me explain this a little. Let me get it. Okay. So it's basically income minus expenses, right? We all, to arrive at profit, it's always income minus expenses. But now let's think about it. Okay, I have trouble. Two sources of income is sales revenue, right? Revenue and investment income, right? Investment income. And you must subtract returns and allowances, right? That's why it's in negative, right? The way negative number is expressed in Excel is either in parentheses or with the minus sign or in red font, right? There are three ways are expressed on the spreadsheet, right? Negative, minus sign, parenthesis, or red font. So obviously you gotta subtract the return. So the result is net revenue, right? So this plus this minus this. And because I already entered this as negative, all you need to do is simply sum everything, right? And it's going to get automatically subtracted, right? So do you have this file in front of you? Everyone, do you have that Excel file open in front of you?
I have it open, but it's not the same as the one you have on your screen.
Yeah. I told you, I just said, it's not the landing page, right? It may not be your landing page may not be this. You may be here, but then I told you to look at the bottom tab. There are multiple sheets, and you go deep.
Yeah, but those are different as well. Like I don't have the Apple statement. Mine it has example 2.1, depreciation, financial statements. Like it's got different files.
But don't you have? Okay, let's see what is there.
The only one that says example says example 2.1.
But one of them will be this. One of them will be this. So let's see what. Let me go there and actually, now what is there? Oh, well, it's still, pretty much the same thing. Okay, that's fine. This is more comprehensive, but look.
That's the one I have.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's not a big deal. I can, but this one is pretty much the same thing. Okay, I will use this one then. Okay, I'm gonna have to. I will close this, and then all right. So now the only reason I used the other one was that the usually the balance sheet is in a single single column. They don't break it up, but it's easier to break it up in asset side and liability side. But we're gonna get to balance sheet later on. But I think it is this, wasn't it? This example, I believe it was this one. But structure, basically the structure is still the same structure. So let's do this one. All right. So what you see here is currently the income statement. So it's pretty much the same structure, right? Okay. And a little difference. We don't we don't have returns. That's fine. I mean, we can always have it. We can consider it later. But the important thing is, income statement is about the income and two major pillars, two major components of income statement is literally income and expenses, right? And the two sources of income is sales revenue and investment income. And then if you and we are not assuming any returns, and of course then the total income will be sum of these two numbers, right? Which is not difficult to understand. Oops. This is wrong. I mean, you cannot just manually. You cannot just manually. What's happening here? Oh, I see. In this case, this was the unknown. Okay. So originally this was given and this was unknown. So to find what was the investment income, right? You would subtract the sales revenue from the total income, right? But the idea is, we already know. Two sources of income, two major sources of income are sales revenue and investment income. And then expenses, two major sources of expenses are CGS and operating expenses. This may look okay. We'll have to the conclusion of the this section is CGS. Conclusion of this section is the expenses or OPEX. Okay, I will. So two major sources of expenses are what's another name for CGS? Another name for CGS is in microeconomics. It is called. Does anyone remember this? What's another name for CGS?
Cost of goods sold. Cost of
Well,
goods
it's
sold.
not another name. It's just if you expand the CGS, that's cost of goods sold, right? It's just CGS is the acronym for cost of goods sold, so it's not another name. But what is another name? What's another name that is used in microeconomics? Anyone? Come on, you forgot this already. That was in Finance 100. How many of you took Finance 100 with me? And even if it wasn't with me, you must have taken Finance 100. So, you know, it should be obvious to you. Or how many? Asiato, I remember your name, so you must have taken 100 with me or Business 210 with me. Isn't that right?
If I'm not
Did you take?
mistaken, I think so.
Huh?
I said I think
I'm
so.
sorry.
I think so. I think that was last
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. You took either one.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember it.
So you don't remember it, huh?
It cost
How about you, Jamel? Your name
something
looks also
was.
familiar, Jamel Rock. Huh? I'm sorry, there's a lot of static. But Jamel, are you there, Jamel? Your name looks familiar. Okay, Jamel, there, I guess. Yeah. So if you,
is it cost of
either,
sales?
I met you either in cost of sale and look, yeah, but look, isn't that the same thing?
Isn't it cost of goods sold?
Cost of goods sold. Hmm?
Yeah, that's the name.
Cost of goods sold or cost of sale. That's the same thing basically, right? It's it's just an interpretation of the same acronym, right? And basically whether you call it right. Let's see. Another name is of course cost of goods sold or cost of revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you just saw in the because goods sold, right, means what? Quantity sold means quantity of goods that was sold, and quantity of goods sold will give you revenue, right? Isn't that right? What is revenue? Revenue isn't revenue quantity sold times that's not easy. Isn't revenue quantity sold times
Price.
Price, yes.
And cost of goods sold is
Okay.
what you paid for it minus what you sold it for.
Right. So cost of goods sold means, the cost side of this revenue, right? Revenue and cost are two sides of the same coin, right? If you are if you have a business, right? Let's say you have a retail store and you have clothing retail, right? Clothing. Um, so you're selling jeans, and the jeans you're selling jeans for a pair of jeans. Let's say I don't know, Levi's, whatever, and you're selling it for $50. A pair of jeans for $50. But that the cost you because you're a retailer, you must have bought it from the manufacturer, the Levi's, or directly from the manufacturer, or from the middleman. But what you paid was obviously not $50. You must have paid $20 and or $30, and then you mark up because you need to have that margin, right? Profit margin. Um, Obviously, if you sold 10 pairs, then your revenue will be $500, right? If you sold 10 pairs, $500. And if you sold only, but then the cost side of that will be $300. Isn't that right? Because 10 pairs, right? So they are like two sides of the same coin, right? Cost side, revenue is the price side of the quantity sold, and the cost CGS is the cost side of the quantity sold, or cost of the revenue. But that's the name. But in microeconomics, does anyone remember what it is called in microeconomics? Hmm? In microeconomics, doesn't anybody remember? It's called total variable cost, right? It's called total variable cost in microeconomics. Why? Because this total cost varies with the quantity sold. You understand? This total varies with the quantity sold, or the production level. I mean, if you're a manufacturer, right, who produced and sold, 1,000 pairs. If you're Levi's, you're the manufacturer, and if you sold, uh, if you sold, 1,000 pairs, right? And if you manufacture and sold 1,000 pairs, right? That's going to be, your production cost, $30 times, right? 1,000, right? That's going to be $30,000, right? So but if you produced only, if you produced, 500 pairs and sold 500 pairs, that's going to be $15,000. If you produce only 100 pairs, right? 100 pairs and sold, 100 pairs. That's only 1,500. 300. Yeah, 3,000. So this cost varies with the this total cost varies with the production level. Hence, it's called total variable cost. Okay, depends on the output level or quantity sold. Now, another name it's called is. Does anyone remember another name? It's called direct cost. remember direct cost. Why? So here in this example, it is not very clear why it is direct cost, but direct cost means the cost that's directly related to production. Because in manufacturing, think about manufacturing. What goes into the production? Anyone? In manufacturing, what? In other words, there must be input.
Materials.
Huh?
The materials, like the supplies.
Yeah, materials and materials is only one, and microeconomics outlined, microeconomics detailed it. I mean, very specifically detailed it. There are, it's called inputs of production. But materials, who said that?
That was me, Anna.
Who said material? Anna. Okay, Anna Karen, right? Right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you get 0.25 point for that. This is today's what? 0828. Yeah, and this is fnb230. Yeah, you extra point, right? The participation. Yeah, this is on average answer. I mean, if you gave me all inputs of production, right, then I would have given you 0.5.
Can I also be labor? The
Give me only
worker
one.
time?
Huh?
Can I also
Say that again?
labor? Can the input also be labor?
I'm sorry. I said I have audio problems. Can you type into the chat box?
Okay.
Can you type into the chat box?
No problem.
Yeah. Can you type into the chat box?
Yeah, I just did.
Labor, yeah. And workers' time, that's labor, basically.
Yeah.
Right? Workers' time is labor. If I pay the worker for his time, because for that time that work is labor. But ASEAN2, that's the second one. ASEAN2. So I'll give you 0.25 for that. Okay, and you said equipment?
Yeah.
Yes. What's another name for equipment? What's another name for equipment?
The machines?
What's the yes, it's machine, but in microeconomics.
Operating costs?
What?
Operating costs? Is it?
No, that's not.
No. Operating cost? No. Operating cost.
That's not it.
Yeah, it is. Operating costs can be confused with operating expenses, but no. Yeah, if you mean cost of operating the equipment, yeah, it's kind of related to that. But that's not the term. I mean, in microeconomics, machines, right? Hardware, machines, production equipment, all just they are all called by this one big category name. No, utilities. No, utilities are. What is the category name for equipment? Production equipment, machines. Plant. What are the what's the category name? The big broad category name for big broad category. But anyway, ASEAN, so you got another 0.25 for the equipment. It's not the correct name, but that's fine. I mean, you get the idea, right? you have to use it. So everybody's taking any economics. Huh? What is that called? It's all called capital. You understand? It's called capital, right? Equipment, production equipment, it's all called it's capital, right? The capital is not only money capital, right? Whatever serves to produce something is called capital, right? So it's capital. Think about it. Of course, money capital is basically the source of all capital, right? But the capital we are talking about here is the physical capital. You understand? Physical capital. But to have physical capital, you have to have money capital. Right? Money capital can. So of course, if you have land, you can sell land. I mean, whatever, and if you have, turn that, if you sold land, a huge, land, huge piece of land, you sold it for $5 million. You have like 10 acres, 50 acres of land, and you sold it for $5 million. That's money capital, and you can turn it into physical capital, like, so you sold land and put it into a plant, invested it into a plant, and that's physical capital, right? Because the plant includes, of course, production equipment, right? So it's called, capital. Where is that Excel file? So direct cost is the cost of. Am I still? Yeah. Direct cost is the cost of capital, labor, and raw material. Raw material is also called natural resource, right? In microeconomics, is capital, labor, and sometimes called land, because natural resource comes from the land, right? In the but in the old days, in the like 17th century, 18th century, before the Industrial Revolution, the economy mainly depended on land. The economy mainly depended on land, meaning it was mainly agrarian economy. Agrarian economy, economy based on land, and most of the times, it was the agriculture. Right? Mining wasn't that big part of the economy, although mining depends on land. But think about it, before the Industrial Revolution, mining was not on a large scale. They could have, without any power, without any steam or steam engine, there couldn't be any, I mean, simply by physical labor, right? Simply by physical labor, there isn't much you can mine, right? You cannot dig deep into the underground. Anyway, that agrarian economy, right? Because of agrarian economy, the economics prior to 19th century was called physiocracy, right? Physiocracy, like it's a basically one form that's based on agrarian economy, physiocrats. But anyway, so if you're manufacturing, right? If you're a manufacturer, your direct input to your output is basically capital labor and raw material, natural resource. That's the direct cost, right? Now, direct cost is also, called total variable cost because, think about it. If you're producing 1,000 units of the product, then cost and material per unit, I mean, there will be capital, cost of capital that goes into one unit, right? Labor that goes into one unit, production of one unit, material that goes into production of one unit, right? Which is per unit production cost, right? That, and if you produce 100 units, the total direct cost will be per unit production cost times 100. Isn't that right? Mm-hmm. So if these are, okay, that doesn't look very good. Let's say these are, if that's production cost per unit, per unit, what does that mean? Production cost per unit is also called, anybody remembers that? Production cost per unit is also called what? Now think about it. This times production cost times quantity produced, or quantity built, or produced. What is that called? Think about it. Per unit production cost times quantity built, what should it be called? Do you have any idea what it should be called? Anybody? So suppose per unit production cost is, per unit production cost is $20, or yeah, stay with the Levi's example. So per unit of Levi's, whatever, five something, 575 or whatever. Now let's say it is $30. Okay, I think it's lower than that, but let's just say it's $30. You produced 100 units. We know what it is. The total will be $3,000. Isn't that right? But what is that $3,000 called? Of course, this $30 is basically capital cost per unit, labor cost per unit, material per unit. Right? Makes sense. The total of that is $30, and if you produced 100 units, that's $3,000. We already know, but what is that called? What is that $3,000 called? Anybody?
Isn't that similar to the cost of goods sold?
Yeah, that's the cost of goods sold. Exactly. That's the cost of goods sold. And who said that? Who said that?
This is Anna.
Who said that? Anna. Okay, Anna. So I will give you another 0.25 point for that. Yeah, that's exactly the cost of goods sold. Right? I mean, but you might wonder, shouldn't it be called cost of goods built or cost of goods produced? Because there is no guarantee, just because you produced 100 units, there's no guarantee that you can sell all 100 units. There must be, sometimes, you sell all of them, sometimes, you don't sell all of them, or maybe, so then if if you sell only like 90 units and 10 units are left unsold, then they are, surplus in a way. Because why is there a surplus? Because demand wasn't matching. Demand wasn't, big enough to. Demand wasn't exactly as many units as the supply. And usually, this happens because you may not have. You may undershoot or overshoot your demand forecast. Overshot the actual demand, so you overproduced surplus. So and surplus is something left unsold, is called ending inventory, right? It will be called ending inventory, but eventually, cost of there are two reasons we call this cost of goods sold. One, we assume ideal universe. So under ideal universe assumption, right, we have perfect foresight. So with perfect foresight, our demand forecast will be perfect. Demand forecast will be exact. So there is no overproduction, because your supply will exactly be matching the demand, right? So there will be the market will without any leftover, right? So under that assumption, then cost of goods produced is exactly equal to cost of goods sold. Well, and the second reason is, even let's come back to reality, because in reality, we don't live in a perfect universe. So in reality, our demand forecast, manufacturer's demand forecast, mismatches most of the time. Most of the times, demand forecast mismatches the actual demand. So there could be some surplus or shortage. You understand? There are always some surplus or shortage. But if there's a shortage, you just you just miss out on the opportunity to make sale, right? But then, of course, that's a problem, because if the demand was for 2,000 units, but you produced only 1,000 units, and then you miss out on the sale for the other 1,000 units. If you miss out on that sale opportunity, you're actually missing that revenue, and that your shortage will be picked up by your competitor. It's only going to benefit your competitor, right? Which is, to you, it's a loss, right? It's, opportunity, bigger opportunity cost. Excuse me. But then, even in a realistic scenario, if you have some leftover, if you have a surplus, the surplus will be eventually gone, because when you have goods left unsold, what do? In reality, this is not a difficult question. Think about it logically. If you have goods unsold, merchandise unsold, left unsold, what do? Do you just leave it like? You just leave it, just piling up? Do you just leave it just piled up in your
You could
stock room or
offer.
warehouse?
You can reduce the price. You can reduce the
Yeah,
price, so it can be easier for the people
yeah.
to get it.
Reduce the price. Yeah. Who said that?
I said to.
Asiatu?
Yes.
Asiatu, okay. Asiatu, you got another 5 for that answer. Yeah, of course, you give a discount, you sell it, you reduce the price. So eventually, although it's not sold at the original price, but the market will clear. You understand? The market will clear eventually. So eventually we now can use the assumption that the cost of goods produced is the same thing as cost of goods sold, which is also called cost of revenue, right? But in microeconomics, isn't that exactly total variable cost,
Yeah.
right? Goods sold and cost of, yes, the production cost per unit times quantity sold, quantity built, or quantity sold, because eventually it's going to be the same thing as quantity sold, right? It's going to be total. Then another name for production cost per unit is, what would you call that? Look, think about it. Cost per unit times quantity is TVC. Then what should be another name for production cost per unit? This times this is this, right? So then this is this divided by this. Isn't it right? Everyone understands that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. If Z equals Z equals X times Y, right? And what is X? If Z equals X times Y, what is X?
Z divided by
Anyone?
Y. Z divided by
It's
Y.
simply Z divided by Y. And who said that? Yeah. And who said that?
Anna.
Anna, okay. Anna, you got another 0.25 for that. Yes. Then, think about it. TDC is basically cost per unit times quantity, right? So cost per unit is then, how do you find cost per unit?
You divide.
No, production cost. What? Say that again?
I say you divide the. Don't you divide it or no?
Divide what? By what?
Divide the production cost by the unit sold. Or am I wrong?
I can barely hear you. Can you type into the chat box, because I can barely hear you?
Okay.
You type into the chat box.
Okay.
Don't try to come up with words. All the variables are already there. All the variables are already shown there. Production divided by unit. No. Production means what? Production means, what does production mean? I mean, divided by unit, that's correct. But production means what? What do you mean by production? Type it there. What do you mean by production? Huh? We have all the variables there already.
Oh.
So you don't need to look for different words.
Okay.
All the variables are there.
Okay, now I'm lost.
Okay, let me see.
Okay.
No. That's not. You're trying to come up with words. I told you everything is already. All the variables
Production
are there.
cost.
So in other words,
Production cost
look,
divided by units.
production. No. What is exactly production cost? Are you talking about production cost per unit? I mean, that's what we are trying to solve for. We're trying to solve for production cost per unit. That is X, right?
Oh, okay.
What is Z then? I mean, you divide it by units. In other words, quantity, right? Units produced. That's Y. But then what is Z? What is Z? Hmm? Look, production of good. Okay, X times Y. And X times Y is part of the equation only.
It's
X
asking
times Y
what
is
it stands for.
X. Look, X is our unknown. We are trying to solve for X, right? And X times Y is Z. So what is Z? In our context, what is Z? I mean, Asya said, Asya gave this, and this is, we know what this is. We know what this is. We are trying to, X is the production cost per unit. Production cost per unit. X is production cost per unit. But what is to arrive at production cost per unit? We divide Z by Y. Y is the quantity. What is Z then? What is Z? What is Z? Wasn't it clear from this setup that Z is what?
Isn't it the variable cost divided by the number of units?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's okay. It's what? It's TVC, total variable cost. Isn't that right? Total variable cost is the same thing as cost of goods sold. Total variable cost is the same thing. It's basically production cost per unit times quantity, right? So Z is TVC. You understand? So then, what this means is, yeah, we are almost there. So we know production cost per unit is TVC, total variable cost, divided by quantity, number of units. Right? And this is production cost per unit. But then, what would be another name for that? What would be another name for that?
Another name for
Think
what?
about it.
TPC?
No. What's another name for the result of this? I mean, the result of this is production cost per unit. So we know that is the result, right? But what is another name for production cost per unit? When we say per unit, what does that mean? We are dividing it. Yeah. It's already said production cost per unit. But what is? Think about it. When you divide total by quantity, what should it be called? When you divide total by quantity, what should it be called? No. Cost of goods sold is already total concept. Is that right? Cost of goods
Is it
sold
variable cost?
is total variable cost. So if you divide that by quantity, it cannot be called cost of goods sold. You understand? Logically, that cannot be, because logically.
I understand that now. Yeah.
So logically, think about it. If you divide total by the number of units, what should it be called?
Average price per unit?
Yes, average. So called what again? What is it called? Average what?
Price
Price
per
per
unit.
unit.
Oh, no. Average. You are dividing total variable cost by quantity, so it should be called. You're dividing TVC by quantity, so it should be called what?
Average price per unit. And I said that.
Average unit per.
No, not price. Think about it. This is total. You divide it by quantities. What it be called? It should be called.
Oh,
Average variable cost.
variable cost.
You're dividing total variable cost by quantity, so it should be called only. So it should be called average variable cost, right?
What?
Isn't that right? Okay. So who gave me that average concept? Who gave me?
Anna.
Yeah.
Okay, Anna. Anna, were you the first person? So Anna, I'll give her 0.25. Okay. So yeah. So this is the concept. So think about it. Average times quantity will be total. Isn't that right? Average times quantity will be total. Total divided by quantity is average. So average variable cost is name for how to make them look right. Production cost per unit is the same concept as average variable cost. Make sense? Right?
Yeah.
So look, average variable cost means, let's say it is $30 to produce one pair of pants, right? $30 to produce one pair of pants. That $30 is, average cost per unit, right? Average cost per unit or per unit production cost, and that would include cost capital per unit, labor per unit, right? Material per unit. Make sense? And then that is why it's called direct cost, right? Because it's direct input cost. And then if you produce 100 units times 100, if you produce 1,000 units, 30 times 1,000. Make sense? That's direct cost, okay? And although here, this is not exactly matching the structure of the configuration of the manufacturing. This is more like retail, because in retail, they don't have to, they don't produce, they're retailing. They got this, they buy this from directly from the manufacturer or from the middleman, wholesaler. But anyway, for retailer, what retailer already paid for has already, it covers the manufacturer's direct cost, right? Makes sense. But from retailer's perspective, they only need to focus on the beginning inventory and net purchase. Actually, I'm gonna change this to it's called net purchase. Ending inventory, right? And if beginning inventory plus net purchase is called GAS. If you remember what GAS is. You remember what GAS is? Does anyone remember what GAS is? It's called goods available for sale. Now think about it. Isn't that exactly what it means? Beginning inventory is the inventory, right? Merchandise inventory you have already when you began this operating cycle. And our operating cycle is basically quarterly, right? So at the beginning of this quarter, you had uh, 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 goods left over from the previous quarter, right? And that's called, beginning inventory. But the beginning inventory is the same thing as the ending inventory of the last quarter, isn't that right? Ending inventory of the last quarter is carried over, right? And it is, you begin this quarter with that inventory already say there. So it's called, beginning inventory. And then, of course, beginning inventory alone, the inventory is what? From the retailer's perspective, inventory is all, merchandise, right? Your jeans to sell, your pants to sell. So from the retailer's perspective, beginning inventory is, goods to sell, right? But then that's not, because whatever is left unsold from the last quarter is not enough to meet the demand from this quarter, right? Does that make sense? This quarter, on average, let's say if you have been in business, you would have an estimate of how much is your average sale per quarter, average quarterly sale, right? And if average quarterly sale is $50,000, and what you have left over from the previous quarter is only like $10,000, right? The dollar value of the merchandise you have in your beginning inventory is only $10,000. Then you need to fill that gap, because on average you sell $50,000 worth of goods, and but you have only currently $1,000 worth of merchandise in your inventory. Then what do you have to do? You have to place order, right? You order that difference between the average quarterly sale and the beginning inventory. That's called purchase, right? So 40,000, you order for $40,000. Net purchase of $40,000. So then you have $50,000 in total, and that's called goods available for sale. And literally, that's what it means. $50,000 worth of merchandise is the you have available for sale. Isn't that right? Right? Then with the goods available for sale, then what happens next? What should happen next? You have $50,000 worth of merchandise, so what should happen next? Logically, what happens next? Are you gonna just, just sit there? Huh? What do you do?
You sell it.
Yeah. So in other words, what happens next? Sale happens next. Isn't that right?
What?
Happens next. So out of this 50 million, right, goods available for sale, you sold, let's say, $30,000 worth of merchandise. 30,000. Okay, and that 30 is, in cost, right? That's basically, CGS, cost of goods sold, right? 30,000 means, 300, 30,000. So 3,000 pairs of pants. 3,000 pairs of pants. I mean, 1,000 pairs of pants. I'm sorry. 1,000 pairs of pants, right? 1,000, right? Then if you 1,000 pairs of pants, that's only in cost. That's CGS. That's basically CGS of this quarter. In price, that will be, you're selling it for $50. So in price, that's going to be how much? You sold, 1,000 pants, and your selling price is 50. Of course, you won't sell it for $30. You will sell it for something above $30, right? And if your price is $50, what's going to be you sold 1,000? So what's going to be that?
50,000.
50,000, yeah, 50,000. But 50,000 is called what? That 50,000 is called what?
The sales revenue. What's the sales
Yes.
revenue?
Okay, don't just call it sales. Revenue is revenue, right? Because revenue is quantity sold times price. That's exactly revenue. Right? Revenue comes from sale, of course. So sales revenue. It's true. But let's call it revenue, right? Yeah, that's revenue. So that's the revenue side of your cost, because cost, revenue side or the price side of the cost. Because in cost, that's $30,000. But in terms of price, it's called revenue, and it's $50,000. And cost of goods sold is the cost side of the revenue. That's why it's also called cost of revenue. And that CGS is the same thing as total variable cost. Make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But then next question is, yeah. And who gave me that answer? Who said that? Who said revenue? Who gave me that? Who said sales?
Anna.
That was Anna.
Huh? Anna?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
Was that Anna? Okay, Anna, you got 0.25 again for that. Yeah, but then our next question is, but then chronologically, what happened next is CGS, but then why? Think about it. After subtracting CGS from GAS, then we arrive at ending inventory. I mean, logically, that's the sequence. That's the chronological sequence. But why did they put ending inventory before CGS? This is kind of not coinciding with the actual sequence. Why? Okay, that answer, think about it. I'm going to give you that as the food for thought. And we are almost out of time. Our class is till 12:15, but I'm going to end it a little early today because today is the first day, and I believe this is the right moment because I can leave you with that question. Okay, so please, in the lecture, in the main lecture, it will be well explained. So please, over the weekend, and you have 2 weeks until the next class. We'll have plenty of time to think about that. And next time, when I ask you that question, please be ready with me.
Can you repeat the question again, please?
The question is why the sequence is not correct. I mean, it's not chronological. The logical sequence is, from as sale happens next, so what should come next should be CGS, not ending inventory. Isn't that right? Ending in only after subtracting CGS from GAS, then you will arrive at ending inventory. I mean, obviously, ending inventory is dollar value of the goods left unsold, and that can only come after CGS. So it's not the order of the sequence is flipped, right? Why? Why is the order, And that is the question. Okay. So next, I will leave you with that question. Alrighty. So I will stop sharing and have a long have a long weekend, a good long weekend. I mean, until next Tuesday, Saturday, it's going to be a long time. Not the next Saturday, the week after the next. So stay safe and and I will see you then. All right. I will stop
All right, thank
recording
you.
and all right. Take care. Take care.
Take care.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you. Just dismissed. I will